Hey students, this video is going to be the video you need for your first night of revising your Macbeth essay. So this video will have to do with the organization of your essay. The following video will provide directions concerning what you must do for your first night of essay revision and editing. These strategies should be used on all essays from now on to the infinity future of all essay writing. So this is not just rules for this individual essay. These are a set of rules that you should be following every time you revise an essay. Now, the first thing you need to talk about is your overall structure, and that's the purpose of each of your paragraphs. So you should have a minimum of 5 body paragraphs, including an introduction, a first body paragraph, a second body paragraph, a third body paragraph, and a conclusion. If you don't have at least these 5 body paragraphs, you're going to need to write some more. Then, once you're sure you have all 5, you need to ask yourself, do these paragraphs need any rearranging? Your introduction and your conclusion are going to stay where they are, but these middle body paragraphs, they can be rearranged based upon importance. You can go from more important to less important. Your body paragraphs may need to build in a certain way to make your argument as strong as possible. So consider whether you have your body paragraphs in the best order as possible, or if you need to rearrange them. Now, once you've done that, you need to ask yourself, are each of these body paragraphs unique to one another? If you followed our outlining process correctly, your first and second body paragraph are going to be pretty different. That third body paragraph, though, could be in danger of repeating the same things that you said in your first and second body paragraphs. So you need to make sure that your third body paragraph has its own unique topic, that it's not repeating what these already said. If it does, then you need to find out something else to write your third body paragraph on. If you're having trouble figuring it out, that would be a great question to ask me, either in person before school or via email. Now, after you've looked at the overall structure of your essay, that's when you need to go and edit the interior structure of your essay. And we're going to start from the beginning with your hook. So in your introduction paragraph, your very first sentence is going to be a hook, or at least it should be. Did you start with a hook? If not, you need to add one in. If you did start with a hook, you need to check to make sure you did so correctly. Because one does not simply write the first sentence of an essay. It has to be well planned. So the hook, it needs to grab your reader's attention. This can be done through a quote, a vivid description, anecdote, which is a story, a definition, or asking a question. However, I asked you guys to push yourself a little further and ask that you more specifically had your hook be either a current event or a historical event concerning your topic. So that's what your hook needs to be about. And it shouldn't just be one sentence. It should be a couple. It should kind of be a story about something that happened currently or a story about a historical event. And of course, it has to do with what you're writing about. It can't be random. And since it's on your topic, you must transition into the paper's topic. So you'll have your hook, and then you're going to transition into your background. So after the hook of your introduction, the second section of your intro, that first paragraph, is the background. So you need to transition into your background. You can't just be like, oh, here's my hook. Oh, here's my background. They need to somehow connect, and you're going to show how they connect by transitioning. That could be a transition word, a transition sentence, or anywhere in between. Now, once you're sure that you've transitioned into your background, you need to then ask, does this background provide the necessary information to understand your essay? And that's going to be things such as definition. If you're talking about authors or place, you need to make sure that you've clarified those. But most of it has to do with defining terms that aren't dictionary defined, but defined based upon how you as a writer sees it. So therefore, say you have to define the word recidivism. I don't want you to go to the dictionary and look up the word recidivism and then copy and paste it into your essay. You should define it based upon how you perceive the word and how you'll be using it in your essay. So with background information, you should think of it as the building blocks to your essay. you'll be building the definitions that the rest of your essay will then rely upon. Once you're done with your background, you have one more thing to do in your introduction, and that's write your thesis. Again, you shouldn't just go, oh, here's my hook, oh, here's my background, oh, here's my thesis. They should be transitioning from one to the other to show how the sentences connect. And again, this can range from a single word like however to an entire sentence such as, one might consider the background to be important to the thesis, but you're going to fill in information there, but it could be an entire sentence. Now, after you have started writing your thesis, you need to make sure, does this thesis that you wrote state the opposition, state your position, and explain how you will prove your position? So, thesis statements are incredibly important. It states the purpose of your essay, and if there's no thesis, then you haven't stated what the purpose of the essay is, and therefore your essay will not be unified, and therefore you need to make sure you have a really good thesis. Now, how do we do that? I have 3 examples of kind of fill-in-the-blank theses. So, as I said, you need to state the opposition. So you might say, while many claim that, and then put your opposition. You then state your position. The undeniable reality is, and you put your position, and then explain how you will prove your position, because blank and blank. So there's many different ways that you can follow these 3 steps. In the past, we have learned opposition to be true, but recent findings indicate a new perspective of your position, where blank and blank prove that change is ultimately necessary. A 3rd example is, it is unacceptable for opposition to still occur today, when in fact we should your position due to blank. So there's many different ways to word a thesis, but your thesis should always ultimately be doing the same thing. Opposition, your position, and then how you'll prove that position. So make sure that your thesis does that, because as I just said, it's the most important sentence of your entire essay. Now, moving on to the body paragraphs. So when it comes to the interior structure of your body paragraphs, you need to make sure that each of your body paragraphs have these parts. Now, each of these parts might be one sentence, they might be many sentences. So don't think of them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences. Think of them as 6 parts that will have 6 or more sentences total. So you need to begin with your topic sentence, then you move into your first piece of evidence, and you need to make sure you have a transition, your tag phrase, your evidence quoted, and then an in-text citation. Remember, your in-text citation is the author's last name and page number. If there is no page number, then it's just the author's last name. And if there is no author listed in the text, then you put the title in quotation marks or italics. Now, after you have your first piece of evidence, you move to the elaboration. And this elaboration should explain what the previous evidence means in your own words and how it proves what you said in your topic sentence to be true. And therefore, it's ultimately proving your thesis, but on a more specific level. So the elaboration explains why this piece of evidence is important. Then you will transition into your next piece of evidence, where you have transition, tag, evidence, in-text citation, and then again you elaborate, explaining what this evidence means and why it's important. And then you wrap up your ideas. So once you make sure that you've structured your body paragraphs correctly, you need to make sure that each of your body paragraphs have a clear topic. So beside each of your body paragraphs, I need you to do the following. So actually in your Google document, open up the notes and make comments that do the following. So for each of your body paragraphs, I need you to add a comment that says, what is this paragraph meant to prove? Then you need to answer, is it clear to your reader that the paragraph intends to prove this? Is it clear what you want your paragraph to be about? You might know what you want your paragraph to be about, but the way you wrote it, will your reader, who can't get inside your head, unless if they're a telepath, will your reader know what you're trying to prove? And then, does every single one of those sentences, from topic sentence to wrap up, work to prove your intended point? So I actually want you to answer these 3 questions for all 5 of your paragraphs, especially your body paragraphs. You can kind of get away not with doing it with your introduction and conclusion. But for those 3 body paragraphs, you should definitely be doing this. So I should see 3 comments at minimum out to the side of your essay, and in each of the comment boxes, you should answer these 3 things for your paragraphs. and answer them honestly. The purpose of this is to edit your essay to the best possible place it could be. Therefore, if you lie and say something's okay when it's not, you're not doing anyone any favors. So if you see that there's a problem based upon your answers, you should notice if you have any instances of poor clarity or off-topicness. You need to answer honestly, and if you see that you have poor clarity or off-topicness, go back and fix it. Now we are almost done, and remember, one topic per paragraph. Nailed it. That's the goal you want. And when we're done with your body paragraphs, we move on to the last paragraph, which is your conclusion. So, does your conclusion paragraph restate your thesis in a new way and end on a strong note by using ethos, pathos, and or logos? So when you restate your thesis, it should not be worded the same exact way your thesis in your introduction is worded. You should restate your thesis to show what's been learned during the essay. So it should show some kind of acknowledgement of what the entire essay has been about. Then you want to transition into a really strong final position that will convince your readers that you know what you're talking about. And I'm going to require, though you should do this already, that you use ethos, pathos, and or logos in this final part of your essay. So remember when we learned about ethos, pathos, and logos, these are the different ways that you can kind of use it. But I should see a clear use of the different rules that we followed, where if you use ethos, you're establishing credibility or a common ground with your reader. If you use pathos, you use the story of the individual, or you play on the emotions of your readers by using really strong diction. Or if you do logos, you end with inductive or deductive reasoning. Something along those lines, but I should see it clearly used in that conclusions final section. So that is the whole kit and caboodle. That is how your essay should be organized. Now your essay should already be written, so remember this is just revisions and editing that you're doing. So don't focus on any other revisions or editing tonight other than organization. Please let me know if you have any questions, and best of luck.